today. We have just returned from a very holy place in your city, the place of Ramadacharya. We spent a few hours over there. It was a wonderful experience. How many of you have gone there to see the whole place? Many of you. Very nice. Naturally. So, a few minutes we'll begin. We'll start prayers first and then we'll start the discussion. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sagana Raghunathantikam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Parita Shakhatam Sat Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishnavanu Sute Devi Pranami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Viva Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we're going to talk about warfare today. Swords. The power of the swords. No. The power of something more powerful than the sword. What is that? Do you remember the first verse of Net of Instruction? Harival. All Shastris, fresh. Yesterday only it became Shastri. All fresh. Just out of the Bhakti Ashri school. You didn't have time to forget it still. Very nice. So my dear friends, today's discussion is very relevant. We have all Rupanugas, followers of Rupa Goswami, and he's written Vacho Vegam Manasa Kurvega. So we talk about all the Vegams, we're going to talk only one Vegam today. What we're going to do? Expand. What is the depth of this Vegam and how very relevant it is to our life? So it is basically the whole discussion seminar is based on this one word only. What is that one word? Vacho Vegam. What is the meaning of Vegam? Speed. Urge. Not just urge. Speed. 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 Yeah, Pancho Vegam Manasa Growth. Vegam is very powerful urge. Right? Veg. So when they say in Hindi, कि हवा जो है इस वेग से चल रही है 200 किलोमीटर पर आवर पे चल रही है ऐसा बताया है. So Vegam is the speed also. So we are probably not aware what is the power of this Vega. You will see today, the next 1 hour or so, what is the repercussion, what is the impact of Vega on our entire life. 20th century and years before that, in the last 2000 years, how many wars have taken place? Nobody knows. There's no count of how many soldiers were killed by the power of the sword. Right? What is the 21st century biggest war against? Is it not? Practically say half the population of the world is suffering from obesity. Half the population of the world, adult population, of course, right? Even teenagers nowadays, 12, 13-year-old, 14-year-old children, huge, right? Like, what standard you are in? You're in college? I'm in 7th standard. 7th standard? It's like if you're already in junior college. Right? Obesity. So, like Adhokana Prabhu said, all your IYS courses, they start from this first day of your discussion is our search for happiness. Some of you have to look at that side periodically. So, because some things are going to be shown there and some things will speak. So, keep your attention on both sides. So, our search for happiness will be divided very broadly into two categories. One is, so the first thing is we have happiness is obtained from things, right? You have happiness of wearing a nice sari, a nice, a cloth, some nice Nike shoes, a good, nice watch. This happiness, right? A nice car you have, nice house, swimming pool, etc. Happiness from things of this world. And the next step of happiness is from people. When you interact with people, with loved ones, you get happiness, right? So now, these are two broad categories of happiness we have. Now, with people, happiness can derive from the way we interact with them. There is the speech. When you communicate with them, talk to them, there are happiness. Like you just sit next to a loved one, you won't feel so much happy. But when you start talking, interacting, sharing, right? And you may also have pleasure coming from people from other factors because of all the different exchanges you have with them. Correct? Now, through speech, in terms of relationship, when you meet a person first time, what do you do? How do you get in touch with people? What is the first thing you do with people? Hello, how are you? Good morning, namaste. Or you may say Hare Krishna. Something you say. The first thing you do with the people is your first interaction is through your tongue. Correct? You don't give wink at them, or you don't say. you first say something, right? So with speech, you can do three things, my dear friends. First, let us put this first light into our consciousness. With speech, you can do three things. What are three things? We can build relationships. Number one, we can maintain already existing relationships, or if not properly used, we can destroy. Right? So that power to use it with how you want it is within your hands. How you exercise your power, right? You will see in the next few slides. So now we call it relationship, right? We have tried to build relationships with the world. Our whole philosophy is Sambandha with Krishna, right? But before we can have Sambandha with Krishna, who's someone you don't even see, has anybody here seen Krishna? Personally talk to him? Any of your devotees? Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilachana. You have not seen Krishna, right? But you know Krishna to a certain degree. So, we are going to have a relation with Krishna. He is our Abhideya Murti. He is our Sambandha Murti, Krishna. However, my dear friends, let's be very grounded. Far before establishing a deep relation with Krishna, we need to have a relationship first with who Krishna said amongst us. Right? Whom we live. Mother Teresa said very wisely, how can you love somebody whom you cannot see, feel and touch? First, you learn to love people whom you can see, you can feel, and you can touch, who are around you. So our groundwork level, what we call as net practice, when we go to a test match, we have net practice in cricket, right? All of you play cricket. We are all cricket fans earlier. before you play cricket, you have to go for net practice. Similarly, before you are studying Krishna, first you need to know how to relation with the people who are around us. Therefore, we call it ship. What is the meaning of ship? Now, ship is so big, right? Each ship is something like 20,000 tons, 40,000 tons, bada hota hai, right? Very ship. But the ship, the direction is changed by what? A rudder. So what is the weight of a rudder compared to the weight of a ship? What is the volume of that rudder? It may be a very small, much smaller, very small thing as compared to the big, huge, thousands of tons of ship. Similarly, what is our weight? Average weight? 60, 70, 80, sometimes 90. But yeah, 78. And what is the weight of our tongue? Anybody knows? Huh? Yeah, 80 to 100 grams. So percentage wise, ship 10,000 tons, rudder very small, but can change the direction of the entire course of the ocean. Right? Body 80 kilos, tongue 100 grams, but can change the entire course of your life. You understand? That's called a ship. Relation, the ship. Right? So the ship, the story which you see, the small little picture down there, this child is a very angry boy. Like some of us, we really get angry. And some of us know, totally, my problem hai. My temper na control mein nahi hai. The child was like that. Very angry fellow. He used to get so angry, so angry. Papa bola, kya hai? What is this? Papa, I said, I want to do something about it. Beta, do one thing. You get angry, na? You just put a nail. Next time you get very angry, you take a nail and hit it on the fence. Okay? There's one. Right? And put fences. How many fences? How many nails around the fence? Papa, my number of nails are increasing. Please know how to get rid of this now. So he said, next time, then he explained and counseled them properly. The dangers of anger. After having counseled them properly, he said, next time you're able to control anger even once, no? You go and pull out those nails. I have one victory. You would go to the fence and remove it. Then next time you're control anger second time. Okay, now you go and take out second. He went on becoming angry sometimes, someone anything, but he's controlled, right? Removed. So he removed all the nails. Papa, I have successful. Sab nikal diya. Right? So let us see the fence now. Let's see, Papa. I have fairly controlled my anger now. All the nails get put are all out. But can you see something? There are holes. No? What about them? So we may speak something and we may try to sometimes cover it up also, but the wound it creates in the heart. Dear friends, how many of you have been wounded by somebody else's words in the past? Look at the number of hands. Look at the number of hands. Others are thinking which one, right? Which part I would say, right? We all have been hurt by people. Was it yesterday you were hurt? Day before yesterday? 5 years back? 10 years back? 20 years back? In childhood, we don't forget. That wound is that what happened, right? So, just like a vase, glass vase, we may take care of it, very fragile. Relationships are like that, my dear friends, right? Especially Vaishnava relationships are like that, very fragile. You have to deal with Vaishnavas with very great respect. If you're broken, they can be sealed together like the other one, the pot is there, the cracks will. So, let us see something about speech. What is the basic importance of speech in our life? Iska mahatva kya hai? Right? So first, is it not true that somebody may wear nice dress and look very nice and like that, but more than their looks and their presentation or what they are, we define people in our mind by how they speak. Right? Isn't that true? If this person, no, he is such a sweet person. He speaks English, he speaks like Rasgulla, very sweet. You want to sit and enjoy him constantly. And some people who speak, you feel that he will karkash. You want to hear them. They're very offensive. very negative, very cribby. Isn't it? The people are, so we define people by speech. Whether you know it or not, people are tagging you by what and how you speak. Very important. It defines a person's persona, his personality. It also, of course, we said it is a means to build relationships, right? When you talk to people, you can build relationships. You can build, destroy, or listen to that. Plus, it has got cultural relevance. Thus, now, when you speak, when you have English language, then people who speak English language, they have a particular of lingo, some slangs in English, right? So they define their culture. In Telugu, another place, in other languages, we have a lot of Sanskrit words, defines our culture, right? So some of our devotees, all of the Telugu people, Andhra people, many of your relatives are settled in America, right? And so they will insist their children in the Dharpe, we will talk in our Telugu language, right? Because when I talk in English language, so they will learn English language when they go to school, but they should not lose touch with their mother tongue. Mother tongue also brings the culture. The language also brings along with it the culture. This is Mattur. Mattur is a place which is there in South India, but the entire village speaks only Sanskrit language, right? Correct. So language also carries a lot of cultural value. Because of course, when you speak, it generates consciousness. And Shuddha Goswami is speaking, Prabhupada is speaking, it creates consciousness, right? When people are speaking all negative things, it creates that consciousness. So when you speak in this world, words carry your consciences, right? What is inside you comes out through speech. Therefore, words create consciousness around, and of course, it affects our consciousness very, very deeply. If we speak and the way we should speak as Vaishnavas, as devotees, then it can very deeply affect our consciousness. But when we speak otherwise, forbidden language, forbidden words, it can very negatively affect our consciousness. We'll talk about this in more detail as we go further.
Okay. So during our life, we interact with so many different categories of people. Everybody, do you share the same level of relationship with everybody? No. Levels of relationship we have, right? So we just take a few categories of people whom we interact with. First is, of course, brahmacharis or sannyasi. We have in-laws, everybody. Family is one of the important categories of people we interact with. Second is, man is not an island. So there are man is a social being. So we have friend circle. People, neighbors are there whom you make friends with. So in college we have friends, in school we have friends, and wherever, everywhere we have friends. So friend circle is a very important category today, which is there. Third is because we are all, again, as we said, family people, we have workplace. So we have our colleagues, we have our bosses, we have our juniors who are working under us. There is a particular way in which we need to communicate with them. And there is people in general. You take a cab and there's a driver. There is a kacharewala who comes to pick up the garbage at your house. Doodh wala is there. That's anybody random. You go to a shop and the shopkeeper is there. You interact with them. We being devotees, the important category of people whom we interact with is whom? Other devotees, because we are staying in a community. We are not in US. It's a different thing. The devotees stay so far away from each other. But here, everybody is staying close to each other. So what is it? Very important category of people whom we need to interact with is other devotees. We are going to celebrating festivals, we connect. During our services, we connect with them. So devotees, and ultimately, whom? Krishna, the Lord. And the whole purpose of the discussion is that what is Bhakti Yoga? We are all practicing Bhakti Yoga. What are we trying to do? We are trying to establish a connection with whom? With Krishna. And one of the important ways of establishing connection with anybody is through communication. That's why we call our seminar as what? Tongue mightier than the sword, the art of devotional communication. Right? So how do you communicate with Krishna? How many of you all have his email ID and phone number? Krishna's number. All of you have? You all have. What is it?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram. Easy number to remember. We don't even need to store it in our memory or something. Right? However, does everybody communicate with Krishna on the same level? We all have different levels of communication. Some have very good communication. Some people are not able to establish the connection only. I'm not able to connect only. Even though I'm chanting, I'm not able to connect to Krishna. Right? So why does that happen? That's what we want to discuss. That if I want to establish my connection with Krishna, first, as Prabhuji said, net practice, I must learn how to have good communication with his devotees, the other living entities who are ultimately his children, whether they are devotees or not devotees. Krishna loves them. Krishna has created them. We can't communicate with them properly. How will we ever be able to communicate with Krishna? Will Krishna be happy with our communication? It's like the parents are there and you talk very sweetly to the parents. Oh, sir, how are you? This, that, and all. And when the children come, isn't it? However good you talk to the father, will he be happy if you mistreat the child? You say, first you talk properly to my child, then come and talk to me. Otherwise, you get lost from here, You will not acknowledge us only. Right? She's able to produce knives from her mouth. Huh? How do you like it? Is she a magician? With ladies also, you and me. Huh? Sometimes they just pierce them and it that you completely shatter the opposite person just because of the type of words you take out. Okay. So now I will ask you some questions. I'm going to get a phone call, and when I receive the call, I'm going to talk, and you have to tell me whom I'm talking to. Okay. So if I get a call, ring, ring, and I pick up the phone, I say, oh, yes, yes. Okay, okay. I will do it. I will do it. I'm sorry. Really? They're talking to the boss. Okay. And I get another call and say, oh, Ramesh, where were you so many days, yeah? Come, let's meet up for dinner today. Has been a long, so many years after school we haven't met up. Those person baat kar rahe hain. We are talking to our friends. Such a sweet relationship. Then I get another call and I say, okay. 8 o'clock. No. 7 o'clock. Who am I talking to? Spouse. It could be either way around. All the wives are talking very loudly, but it could be either way around. So now tell me, who is the closest person out of these three people to me? Should be the spouse, right? Right? And who is getting the best part of my communication? Boss or friend, when the closest person is my spouse. So why is it, that the closest person in my life receives the worst part of my communication. Do you agree to that? That the closest people to us, unfortunately, receive the worst part of our communication. Does it happen?
Yes.
It happens more too often, right? And that is why it is said the degree of intimacy determines the degree of pain or pleasure. If somebody in Timbuktu hurts me, I feel hurt, but it will be so temporary. Anyway, whatever got to do with him or her, staying in Timbuktu here. But I'm staying in the same house. And this keeps happening, again and again and again. How hurt do we feel? Have you ever thought of it like that? We talk of conscious eating. Everybody's become so conscious, oh, dieting, I follow this particular diet, and millets I eat, and I don't eat dinner in the evening, and we're so conscious of whatever we eat. We are so conscious of what we wear. I'm going to office, I have to wear formals. I'm going to a party, I have to wear informal. I'm going for a marriage, I have to dress up very nicely. Why we are so conscious? Why don't you wear Pata Purana things and go to a marriage? Or why don't you wear shorts and go to college? I mean, go to office, right? Why don't you wear a suit and sit at home and wash bartan? We don't do that. Why? Because we are conscious of what we are doing. Then why aren't we so conscious about the way we talk to people? Life just goes on, and those who are hurt keep getting hurt, and those who are happy keep remaining happy, and life just goes on. We don't even think about our relationships in that way. So that's why we think that it is sometimes necessary to stop and think that what am I doing, because this is an important way the relationship gets affected. By good communication, I can build good relationship. By bad communication, I can destroy the relationship. Huh? Or I just want to keep it in the maintenance mode. Chal raha hai, main chalne do. It's going on. Na? Neither it is breaking, neither it is making. Most people are in that category. अभी क्या 40 साल प्रभु जी हो गया शादी करके अभी क्या जोड़ना क्या तोड़ना चल रहे हैं. How many people use the dialogue? ये तो बच्चे हैं इसके लिए नहीं तो डैश 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 कभी का छोड़ दिया होता है. But we sometimes शर्म के मारे we just stay together, society, what people, but there is no pleasure in the relationship. Why are we trying to have a relationship? Some pleasure should be there, na? You don't want to go and do things out of misery. Whatever I do, I'm doing because I want pleasure. If my marriage is there and I come and give you a card, Prabhuji, my marriage is there, please come. Getting married, Well, then why you're getting married, But I'll come and say, Prabhuji, please, I'm getting married on such and it will be a great pleasure if you come, and come for the wedding. That shows that I'm happy getting married. I'm not miserable getting married, isn't it? So same way, I'm wanting to, we must, why we are having relationships? Because we want some pleasure out of the relationship. We want some pleasure. And if that is not coming, whether we want or no, others want some pleasure out of our relationship with them. Even if you are not bothered, but others might be getting affected from our behavior, our communication. So we need to sometimes take out time like this and think, okay, is there I can make some changes in the way I'm doing things?
A bit of scientific analysis will help also, right? So there are psychologists called Dr. Albert, right? He figured out that in analysis as to what are the ways in which we communicate. So he figured out something which is very interesting. Statistics. This is accepted in the world over now as quite a standard research analysis. He says that your words are only 7% of your communication. Did you know that? What is 7%? A very small. No, we think communication. There are words, right? But 7% is only your words, actual words which are used, the grammar, the words, the lingo, is only impacting by communication by how much percent? What is the other 38%, 55%? 38 is my voice. My voice. When you say the voice means what? Voice means voice modulation, the content, right? The tone, right? The tone, what is so, so something can be spoken in the same thing can be spoken in different ways. No? The same thing. Suppose I say 2-3 words. I'll tell you. Right? आप आ गए. आप आ गए. आप आ गए. आप आ गए. Right? Same thing, no? आप आ गए in fear, आप आ गए in pleasure, आप आ गए in taunt. अच्छा, आप आ गए. Right? Word तो same ही है ना? But did you derive 3 different meanings out of that? So words are the same, but my body language communicates something different. Were my eyes speaking or not speaking? And I was saying that my eyes also were speaking. Right? My words were speaking. And my entire body was speaking also. So in just 5 seconds, you figured out what I was trying to say. Right? So our entire body speaks, my dear friends. Right? When a pure devotee looks, the one example of this could be when a pure devotee glances at somebody, he communicates through his eyes. The Mahaprabhu was walking through the streets of South India, right? This glance at the love of God, communicate his love with them. Srila Prabhupada thinks so pure. You look at somebody, just look at them, and they would feel so enthused. Prabhupada looked at his glance, sort of activated something within their heart, and dormant Krishna Bhakti became activated, right? So there is something which is there in communication where an entire body can speak. So, the important thing is what is in our mind, manasa, will come into our vacha. What is in our vacha will come ultimately into our kaya. Right? The 3 things, like Ramacharya's deity we saw today, the 3 can be sannyas. Right? Kaya, manasa, vacha. Gaudiya Vaishnavas, right? 3 things. So, what is happening in our mind will definitely affect our words, right? So now I want you to do, my friends, I want you to look at this slide very carefully. Right? These are the components of communication. One is the content, other is the intent, and third is the impact or the effect. Right? So content is what words are spoken, what tone was there, what amplitude was there, right? Content also means when it was spoken, right? Which time, desh, kal, patra, circumstances meant. These are all part of the content. Other is intent. Intent. क्यों बोला? जो बोला वो बोला क्यों बोला? Right? What is intent? Was it casual? What is motivated? What is to please? What is to hurt? What is to appreciate? Whatever. Right? Now my question to you all is, if you look at this carefully, which is more important? Huh? That is what the question is being asked. You understand? Right? Not an easy question. Is content important or not important? Content is very important. क्या बोल रहे important है ना? It's very important. The tone, we already spoke about that, right? आ गए. My words, the content was important to you all. You have figured out what I was speaking by your content. Important है कि नहीं content? Intent important है कि नहीं?
Little important than content.
My dear friends, they are both equally important. Let's put it very clearly. Very, very important, right? For a Vaishnava, the content can be sometimes just maska pole. अरे क्या यार आप तो ऐसा वैसा वैसा करके ऑर्डर निकालने का है, पैसा निकालने का है, तो how do you speak with them? Intent क्या है? पाटली में डालने का है उसको, बराबर है? So your content is looking very nice. You think, oh, he has a nice friend. But your content is right. So Mantra is speaking very nicely to Kaikai, as if she is like the closest person to Kaikai. He's giving a lot of good advice. Arey, aisa hoga, waisa hoga. It will have so many things happen if Ram becomes the king, right? What is her intent? she is driven by deep envy of Lord Ramachandra. Right? Intent was terrible. But content-wise, Kaikai felt that this content is excellent. And she did not understand even her intent. She could masquerade her content so beautifully, intent was not coming known. Right? Therefore, for us, my dear devotees, when we speak, and when we misfire our speech, suppose you get into a tangle, some sort of a conflict with your wife, with your husband, with somebody else, right? Just ask this simple questions to yourself. Because devotees means constant self-analysis. Devotee means constant self-analysis has to go on. Introspection has to go on. Was my content wrong? Was my intent wrong? Ask yourself this question. Did I speak things properly? Was my tone? Because as they say, it's not what you say, but often how you say it. Because when the Sasu says, the mother-in-law says something to the Bahu, she always feels, that uske piche kuch hidden meaning hota hai, right? So he starts pursuing always some intent is there behind it, right? So when you misfire, always think of content and intent.
Why it is important? Because ultimately perception is reality. Even if my intent is good or whatever it is, my content is not proper, still the desired effect is not there. And the beautiful example is of Rupa Goswami. He laughed at that while he was in meditation. He was seeing some pastime of Radha and Krishna and he just laughed. But a deformed Vaishnava was passing by and he felt that such a big saint like Rupa Goswami is laughing at me. How mean of him, And because he was hurt, to some extent, what happened? Even Rupa Goswami's samadhi broke. Did Rupa Goswami mean to hurt him? No. His intent was not at all there. But the content of laughter was the thing which affected. So content, intent, both are important because what we say and how we say it has the desired effect or the undesired effect. So that is why both all are important. Okay. Now there are certain factors which affect our communication. Yeah. In our day-to-day dealings, some factors affect the way we communicate. Normally, we may not be like that. I might be a good person, talk very nicely to people. But sometimes the physical factors play on me. I have come from a very hot outside and I have come home and had a heavy day and all, and I come home and I'm like, and my children or wife will say something, I will flare up. I'm not that type of a person, but circumstantially, physical factors have acted on me. I have been overworked in the office today. So I have landed up snapping at the person, or the husband came home and the wife is snapping at the husband. Why? Because the children gave a tough day to her, the maid did not come or whatever happened, and she had a tough day. So she landed up snapping. So physical factors, do they affect our communication? Very much, right? Emotionally, if I am emotionally hurt or I'm emotionally down or I'm emotionally affected by something, I may end up talking like that to somebody. Ordinarily, I'm not like that. Ordinarily, I'm a good communicator, but I lost a near and dear one. So I've done incomplete communication or I've done little bit of, neglectful communication. But it is because of some emotional factors that are playing. So that's not, we have to accommodate that. Okay, it's because of that. Sometimes it is spiritual factors also could affect. Or you might think, how do spiritual factors affect? For example, we are going to celebrate Janmashtami in our house. And we are going to do Abhishek and all, And 100 devotees are going to come to my house. And things are not yet ready. So what happens? Sometimes husband and wife will end up snapping it. Abhi to bichhaya nahi hai. Do it, yeah, people are going to come. You don't understand that much. How many liters of milk? 5 liters of milk. 5 liters? What will happen? How much Charnamrit will come out of that? 10 liters you should have. Are Prabhuji, 10 liters where you will have to distribute to the whole society over there. 5 liters, 10 liters ke upar argument ho jaye. It's a spiritual thing. It's for Krishna only. Or commonly when we are getting late in the morning, both husband and wife are working. Who will do the offering? You have arguments like that. You do not. Every day so I do. Today you cannot do it. You all have that type of things. Only we have. We all have like that, You do, you do. I do, you do. I will, It's a spiritual thing. But that also could become why? Sometimes we may not have finished our rounds. So that plays on our head. Chako baki hai itna, and you're talking and telling me to do all these things. I haven't finished my rounds. So rounds is a spiritual thing, but that is becoming a cause of problem. The days you have finished your rounds in the morning, you're in quite a happy mood. Everything is nice. At home, everything is nice. People are nice. The same people, but everything becomes very nice. Why would I have finished my rounds? The day I haven't finished my rounds, bad good. Whatever happens around, I get snappy over it, right? Usually, Prabhuji and me, whenever we have an argument, we have it on a Thursday. Aren't you surprised? Why only on specifically Thursday? Because Thursday is a little hectic day for us. We go for DT worship at Radha Gopinath temple. This is like 1.5 hours away from our house. So we get up at 3:30 and we go to the temple. Wednesday night is late night sometimes because patients and all. Yes, come home late. We have slept late, got up early. We have gone to the temple, done cooking for the Lord, done dressing. By the time we come home and cook and then we eat and we are like so dead tired. So we land up arguing on Thursday. Now it's no fault of Radha Gopinath that why we are fighting. But it was a spiritual reason. But we landed up arguing on that. So we become extra careful. If we start arguing, say, okay, it's a Thursday. I'm sorry. I realize it's a Thursday. Cut. Matter sorted out there. Because sometimes we need to identify our stress factors. Stress factors, unless we don't identify, we may end up behaving like this and hurting each other, And repeatedly, once or twice is accommodable. But if it repeatedly keeps happening, then it's bad. Also, our upbringing. Sometimes our upbringing has been so bad that we have only seen our parents barking at each other. They were always shouting at each other, telling, "You go to your mother's house," or "You mind your own business." What did your you are not earning enough. Look at that Prabhuji, how much he is earning, and what all these things they have seen in their family. So it lands up, we also land up behaving like that with each other. If the son and the daughter have seen parents talk that I will leave you, I want to divorce you. Unknowingly, subconsciously, the children also land up behaving and talking like that. There is more possibility of them arguing and having misunderstanding and wrong communication because that's what they've seen in their house. And if you have seen good communication between parents, like he has seen that in his house, the father and the mother talk very respectfully to each other. They talk very lovingly. They talk very understandingly. They take each other into confidence in whatever they do, decisions, discussions, everything. So that's what he has learned. So he's an excellent communicator. Why? Because that's what he saw in his parents. What we see, our parents are our best teachers. But do we want to perpetuate that sin in our children? What to do? My parents were like that, so I am like that. So tomorrow your children will also say, what to do? My parents were like that. These children will say, what to do? But somewhere you have to break the circle or no. If my parents were like that, what path our children have done that they should suffer the same thing. Break the cycle and try to be better so that they can see better examples in us. Even Prakriti affects us. We have Ayurvedic doctor in our hospital, and he says that sometimes I sort out problems between people by identifying their Prakriti. That this person is Pitta Prakriti, that's why always high strung, and other person is Kapha Prakriti. So Nadi dosh settle karne se bhi sometimes communication issues could get sorted out. Okay, you understand, okay, it's okay, my wife is Pitta Prakriti, so I don't take it seriously. Sharp tongue is there. My wife is like that because she's Pitta Prakriti. Slowly, with whatever, she will improve. Sometimes the wives feel my husband doesn't talk only. He's always so thanda and so calm and all that. Why? Kapha Prakriti person, maybe. Shanti is good for you that he's like that. So Prakriti could be there. An important factor, basic, is gender difference. Now this is what? Who made the genders? The Lord made. So it's a manufacturing defect from a If at all you think like that, that why men are like this and why women are like this. Okay, the total psychology of man and woman is only different. What do men do? They usually talk to, suppose there is a festival in the temple, Pushya Abhishek, and the husband has gone and the wife has not gone, and the wife will say, Prabhuji, how was the festival? Nice. Prabhuji gave class. Abhishek started at 7:30, then there was Prasad, and I've come home. End of the story. And if the wife has gone and the husband has not gone, and the husband doesn't need to ask also, the wife will come and tell. Huh? You know, Prabhuji, what a festival it was, Hundreds of devotees were there, fully covered. And when the darshan opened, my God, what a beautiful dress. Combination was purple and blue and green and white. What bright colors were there. And then suddenly, after the lecture, these examples were given of Polovek Sridhar and, the fruit seller and all. And lecture lasted for exactly 30-35 minutes. And then the Abhishek started. And first they had white flowers and after were so fragrant. And then they had yellow flowers and then red flowers. No, I don't want so much detail. It's fine, It's okay. Every year I attend Pushya Abhishek. But the wife wants to give. So man psychology is what men usually talk only to inform. In a result-oriented way, rather than to have emotional connectivity. So that is the way men are being made, right? And what do women do? They have this, they talk about their problems, not sometimes they love ventilating. They want to convey things, and husband might think, अभी और कितना सुनना पड़ेगा, they feel it's a waste of time. They have come home and they are going on and on and on and on. But that is the need of the wife. So if both husband and wife understand the basic manufacturing defect, we call it, by the Lord. So we will understand, okay, I have to give that extra time. That is the need of my wife. And if my husband is not talking, doesn't mean that, he doesn't care for me. But men are like that, So what to do? So even this gender difference, if we don't understand, we might start feeling insecure in our relationships. The wife will say, husband is not talking to me. Maybe he's talking to somebody else. Why is he doing like that? All sorts of thoughts will come into our mind, right? So, are you with us? Are you able to identify this happens in घर की कहानी? Now we'll go to levels of communication.
Dear friends, please have a very close look at the slide. Okay, there's another type of mirror which is there. Now, what the slide is teaching us is very pertinent. We are evaluating people by the type of communication they have. And based on that, there are three types of people. Now, we are all so-called human beings, but the level of communication can be sometimes subhuman, lesser than expected by human being. Or second category can be like a human-like communication. And third category could be superlative communication among Vaishnavas. And what is that? What is sub-human communication? When there is, as per our previous discussion in the slide which I asked you to look at carefully, there is bad content and bad intent. Example, if it is indecent, vulgar talk, offensive talk, bad words, topics centered around wine and women. Whenever whomsoever talks like this, I mean, I'm not saying that devotees talk this, but I'm saying whomsoever talks this, that person, as far as communication is concerned, is categorized as having subhuman communication. Not expected, right? Now, when you talk about human communication, average, right? Means what? There is good content. Intent may not be, maybe may not be, depends on various things, right? But at least the content is good. At least the speech is modest, is used civilized words. He will be gentlemanly. He will be polite. He will be filled with courtesies. And you will have much discrimination, what to speak, how much to speak, when to speak. When this is there, it is called as human communication, right? Are you able to understand this, right? This is what we should be at. You and I are human beings, and our upcoming Vaishnavas or aspiring Vaishnavas, the minimum thing required by us is this. We'll talk about Vaishnavas a little 2 minutes later. Is it not true that sometimes because of the bad modes, when we're not always in Sattva Guna, we get affected by Rajagun? And if we are in bad shape, we will be affected by in Tamaguna. When the gunas go down, the speech quality drops severely. Right? Look at that. In the modes, what happens is that, and we are in mode of goodness, we are conscious, as she said in the beginning, a nice thing, conscious speech or conscious communication. So when you're conscious of what to speak, how much to speak, etc., that is the mode of goodness. When you think, after we have spoken, you think, "Arey, barabar nahi bolna usko yaar. At best it up. At least okay, Rajagun ho gaya." But you are totally careless and careless about what you speak. Jane do. There is also a Hindi word. I don't want to use those words right now. But become totally insensitive. Right? That is called as Tamaguna. So now, let us see what the ideals are first. Ideals kya hai? We want to become Vaishnavas. So can we move towards the right side of the slide and try to keep the left side away from us? The right side is what? When you see great Vaishnavas speak, right? How do they speak? First thing is, they are never hurtful. They never hurt. Vaishnavas don't really hurt. Then their speech is always free from envy and jealousy. They're not jealous of people. Free from it. Nindadi Shunyam, don't criticize. They're eager to glorify the Lord and the devotees. Very, very positive. Harikatha, Vaishnava Stuti. They speak the truth. Honest. Their life is based on truth and they speak the truth. Their life itself is Satya, right? Everything about them is Satya, right? And they uphold in their life what we call as value system. And the value system is they uphold values given by Sri Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And of course, they are very, very liberal when it comes to appreciating people. Very liberal when it comes to encouraging people. Very liberal when it comes to expressing gratitude. So what we want to avoid, what at least this slide should help us is that, can we put a complete cross on the subhuman communication? From today onwards, if we want to make some progress in our communication skills, all of us are going to be here for the next 2-3 years, we are discussing all these things. Can we come to one conclusion as a group, as a community, as friends, right? That I will try today in my Vachovedam process. My Vegamis should not drive me to such a crazy level of community where I become offensive, hurtful, right? And sometimes bad words. It is not uncommon, my dear friends. When we travel around, meeting so many people around the world, we find that even devotee families, it is not uncommon for people to use gali, abusive words. It is not uncommon. The question arises when we ask them this, that, my dear devotees, my dear Prabhus and Matas, right? The tongue which you are using for chanting Harinam, the tongue which you are using for chanting nice shlokas of Gita and Bhagavad, the tongue which you are using for glorifying and singing bhajans of the Lord, doing stuti of the Lord. How can that tongue be allowed to speak vile words of offensive nature? How can they avoid to use gali? कैसे बोल सकते हैं उसके ऊपर? Do you think that ever Krishna will manifest on your tongue when you chant Hare Krishna mantra? No. Answer is a clear cut no. Right? Krishna is not so cheap. He is not so cheap a God that he just comes because you say Hare Krishna, he will come dancing tunes of your harina. He's very selective, very choosy. Naham prakasha sarvasa yogamasam samavrita. Udhom navi janati. Right? Then just come. Naham prakasha. He will not be manifest to us. He this level of our communication. So let us at least make a decision. At least let me remain on the level of middle level. Middle kya hai? Human communication. Let me be polite. Let me be courteous. Right? When you go, sometimes you're in the airport, how you see the people say, you just touch your bag to somebody. Sorry. And the air hostess is very polite. Thank you. Give me a glass of water. Thank you very much. The best courtesies you want to see, you see in the airport. People are like, they stand in the line and little bit, oh, you come first. Thank you. Right? And you see all courtesies there. Right? And at home, akal nahi hai kya? Samajhta itna samajhta nahi तेरे को. Oh my God, whatever words come out there, right? So can we put a cross to it? Right? One is negative, other is at least zero, positive. At least human level पे आ सकता है, है ना? आ सकता है? आ सकता है, ठीक है. Good. So that is it decided. Can you say Haribol to that? Haribol. 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 Very nice. Thank you.
We have to go. We can go on till what time? Then it will have to sit here till the end of our lives, all of us. So we are also trying to understand. What time? It's 7:30. 8 o'clock? Yeah. So what we are trying to understand over here is there are different, as he said, Vaishnav communication, human, subhuman. But there is unhealthy, ineffective communication. Coming to more practical, that is what we understood is theory. We should do this and we should not do that. But what does that actually mean in our day-to-day life? So there is two types. Unhealthy, ineffective communication has to be what? Where does the arrow come down? Down. Right? You see those blue arrows? That has to come down. And the conscious way. So what said, there is verbal and there is non-verbal. Body language is there or words are there. So when we talk of non-verbal communication is that when our family members are talking to us or some devotees who are talking to us, what do? We're yawning, looking at the watch, turning away, cold response, looking bored or just rolling our eyes up, making faces, or we even try to do what? For tat. You said like this now. So all this is non-verbal communication. You're not saying anything. Communicating with you, okay? Get lost. So what will I do? I'll end up comparing. Look at that Mataji's dal, how she makes, and look at how you are making. Learn something. And my mother, what sambar she makes, and look at your sambar, how it is. The wife is thinking, your mother also, when she got married, she was not making that good. Now when you are 25, 30-year-old, now her sambar has become good. And my son will also be 25, 30, I'll also make good sambar. Be patient with me, na? So that comparison comes. You are comparing. Compare about the man. Compare devotees. These sectors we are talking about is that for family and for community also. When we have our groups, Bhakti, we just see that group, how much enthusiastically you lead that group only, forget us. That is verbal communication. Some partners or with devotees, we keep telling the same thing to them. Do this. Nobody likes nagging, even children don't like it. So where is the question of trying to do that? We have to be careful. Then there is the blame game. We land for anything good that happens, we want to take the credit. For anything bad that happens, because of them. I would, if I was there, I would have never done like this. Reading a subject, insulting people, lying, naming, ridiculing, self-righteous, digging old graves. What happens by doing all these things? Emotional divorce. We may physically stay together in the same community, but you will see sometimes two devotees cannot even face each other and talk. Why? Because of some wrong communication, unhealthy, ineffective communication that happened between two people. That you have become so hurt because of all these things. For family people also, they just stay together, as I said, बच्चे हैं इसके लिए, otherwise I would have left you. That type of attitude, we may come. So you stay together in the same community, in the same house, but emotionally you are divorced from each other. Imagine how painful it is. At least if you are physically divorced, you don't have to see each other. But when you are emotionally divorced, you are seeing each other day in and day out, but there is no connectivity. You don't feel connected with each other only, right? That much hurt has gone because of unhealthy, ineffective communication. So let's understand what is healthy, effective communication. How do I avoid that? Again, if I say verbally, what I can do, I can use some encouraging words. Can we do that? We can use encouraging words for each other. We can have more clarity in our communication than have ambiguous communication with each other. There could be more pleasing ways of conveying the same thing. हाँ, एक अंधे को ये अंधे, अच्छा, वो बोले कि भाई साहब आपके आंखों की रोशनी भगवान ने चुरा ली है, थोड़ा आप साइड में हो जाओगे तो उसको भी अच्छा लगेगा. That is good verbal communication. Non-verbal में कैसे? When you are talking to people, if you just talk like that, like they are doctors, if they just touch the patient and talk, half healing takes place from that only. How are you today? How's your BP? Doctor sir, I'm feeling. The children are there, and then you sometimes you feel if I touch my child too much, I'll fall in my eye. But what is the fault of the child? Hug them, kiss them. They are your children. They are looking for communication. It's giving smiles. Sometimes people have castor oil faces. Anybody, sir? But if you are a very smiley type of person like our Leela and Prabhu, and some reason, no reason, you will keep smiling. So that itself exudes so much positivity. You feel like being around such people, right? You're always smiling type of people. You make some positive gestures. There's empathic listening. You are trying to listen to whatever the opposite person is saying. So in short, if you are to define healthy communication, it is when two people are able to express their needs, wants, feelings clearly and specifically, and have these expressions received with care, respect, and attention. That is positive. Don't assume that my partner should be mind readers. क्या बोलने की जरूरत है? They should understand I love them. बोलना थोड़ी है रोज I love you, I love you, I love you. जरूरत है क्या? रोज मत बोलो, but तो बोलो. हाँ, तो पाप नहीं लगेगा बोलेंगे तो, isn't it? You tell your children, I love you so much, beta. So you feel so good a person. Then that will have. Don't expect everybody will be mind readers, and especially that happens with close people, as he said. Part of people you are very generous in appreciating or telling things, communicating to them, sorry or whatever. But with close people, we take it for granted that it's understood now. What I have to communicate. Don't you understand that much? Do I have to tell you that? It becomes like that, right? So when we are talking of about these type of things, we are talking about what? Marriage between married people. How do you like this? Confusing? What is marriage? There are two things. There is a wedding and there is a marriage. What is the difference? Exactly. Wedding is an event. So when we are getting married, we plan. Like I did shopping. I did invitations. I fixed up the menu. I fixed up the hall. I'm ready for the wedding. But that you are ready for the event. But are you mentally prepared that one more person is going to come into my life? I have to share my life with somebody. So how will I be able to do that? Right? Are we prepared for that? So love is not, it is a verb. Verb means it's an ongoing thing. It's like a love tank. Can you, even if you have to fill the petrol tank, sorry. If you have Mercedes and if you are filling up your car, petrol tank on the first day, till the end of your life, can you just run on that? You have to do it periodically. So same way, my love tank needs to be filled periodically. Let's not talk of renunciation in a premature way. Many people say that, oh, I want to be renounced. Like we were telling in the morning, that somebody came and said that, Prabhuji, please bless us. We want to become Grihastha sannyasis. Which species is this, you know? Some Brahma didn't create this species. Right? So we are talking of detachment even before getting attached. I can get detached from something which I'm attached to. But I'm not attached only. But I tell Leela and Prabhuji, I'm detached from your farmhouse. But I was never attached only. From today onwards, I'll be attached. But we are not attached. So where is the question of detachment? Detachment, our dear friends, is an organic thing. Just because you come into spiritual life, let's not think that, it has to be something different. We don't behave normal, we feel, how can I, if I do too much, I'll become attached. I'll fall in Maya. This will happen, that. In that, we deprive our close ones from the normal expectations which our partners have or devotees have. Sometimes, you tell something to the devotees, appreciate it. अरे सर पे चढ़ जाते हैं, उनको बहुत बोलते हैं ना, सर पे चढ़ जाते हैं. Sir, so because of that, you don't do anything. So that is why we are talking that please be more conscious that communication in a positive way is an ongoing process. You have to keep doing it repeatedly, right? So what do we have to do is, usually in relationships, you have to watch out for the signals, right? Don't you see signals while driving? Oh, it is green signal, I have to start. It is red signal, I have to stop. So same way in relationships, if you see that somewhere there is estrangement happening, some devotees are keeping distance from me. Something is wrong with me. Maybe I'm me, Is there something that I need to do for that? Weather is hot or cold, we are looking for signals for that. But is my relationship going better or worse? Doesn't matter. We have become sometimes in a digital world, we have become desensitized towards human relationships. We don't bother because we are trying to get reciprocation only from gadgets, right? So don't ignore signals. If you feel like that, stop. Think about it. Where I'm going wrong? Is it my unhealthy communication? Is it my non-verbal communication? Where do I need to change? What do I need to do anywhere? Whether it's in my workplace and I'm treating my juniors like that, that's why they're leaving the job and going away. Or, my Bhakti Vriksha people are going away, or people are displeased with me. I need to think. So if you have to think of some proactive strategies, or we could call them as communication enhancers, we have just categorized it in a few words. Number one is listen more and speak less. To speak. Do you understand what I'm going through? This, that we keep communicating, but we don't listen. And listening is not only words. You have to listen to body language also. Sometimes the Prabhujis will, in some temple they will go and they will say, you look very tired today. And the wife will say, my God, whole day, every day I'm tired at home. He doesn't even notice that. And he's telling that to somebody else. Or you might tell some other Prabhuji also, either way. Or the Matajis will tell their other Mataji friends or Prabhuji friends that, Thank you so much. Sorry, sir, so many things you don't tell me also. You are telling everybody else around. On the phone, you tell your mother that, you tell your father that, but you never tell me that, right? So sometimes we need to listen to the body language. Second is, which is a very important factor, is he said appreciation. Appreciation, how? We are talking of verbal appreciation, not mental. Many times you people say, of course, Prabhuji, we appreciate. I appreciate what my partner does for me. But did you ever convey that to each other? What is that to convey? They know he's working, it is his duty to work, and she's working at home because it is her duty to work at home. What do I need to communicate? But the psychologists say that appreciation, if not verbalized, is like getting a gift. We might pack a very expensive gift, diamond gift, a beautiful watch, or something like that. We can hear, don't remain disturbed. If we pack a very expensive gift and have a very beautiful packing, but we never give it to the person for whom we have bought, what is the use of it? Is there any use? No, right? So appreciation is that tonic which will work. Try it. And sometimes we see that outside world is much better at appreciating than we devotees are. Because which is the worst juice? Which is the worst juice? Juice. We are so miserly in appreciating. Again we feel ज़्यादा appreciate किया ना सर पे चढ़ जाएंगे. अरे but कभी कभी तो करो appreciate. Ask yourself, when is the last I appreciated somebody? Sometimes we have to make a conscious effort कि भाई दिन में मैं कोई 5 जन को तो appreciate करूँ. कि मेरे पार्टनर में 2 चीज तो appreciate करूंगा ही करूंगी. I will do that. I will appreciate my children because we are very fast in correcting more than appreciating, right? So we have to understand that before I correct somebody, I should appreciate the person. Then my correction will also be taken in the right spirit. Otherwise, it will not be taken in the right spirit, right? So appreciation is what? Is a communication enhancer. Why do we put chaat masala in anything? Taste enhancer. So are there some relationship enhancers also? Yes. So appreciation is one of the very, very important relationship enhancer. Please become little more generous in that. Give it. It goes a long way. Okay. Third is respect. When you respect somebody, automatically your communication is better. If I don't respect, kachra wala hai, hey, itna late aata hai, jaldi aata hai. I don't respect the kachra wala. But if some Maharaj has come, Maharaj, please. Nobody has to tell me respect Maharaj, but automatically, I will be a better communicator. Why? Because I respect him. Some senior people come, automatically there is respect, right? So if we increase the respect quotient in our relationship, let us respect our partners, let us respect our other devotees, then automatically our communication will become better. You will not even have to try for it because respect is there. We respect our parents, we communicate better with our parents, right? So that respect element is there. So respect is a very important communication enhancer. The fourth one is Atmavat Sarva Bhuteshu, means what? Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. Those who give love, get love. Those who give hurt, get hurt. Common, understandable thing, na? If I spit up, that spit only falls on me. Where will it fall? On me only, na? So it is like that. What I will do unto others, that will come back. That is law of nature. So if I become good communicator, then I will also get less hurt because everybody will communicate very nicely with me. So since we don't have time, each of these topics we could take as a seminar. But these are some of the communication enhancers. Do you remember which ones? First one is listen more, speak less. Second one, appreciation. Third one, respect. And fourth is Atmavat. Do unto others what you would have them to do unto you.
Yeah. And of course, even Krishna in the 17th chapter of Gita talks about speech, right? Austerity of speech, right? All of you have read Gita, so you'll understand this. Very important sloka I spoke about. So Krishna, in his own words, knew what we are talking about today, that our speech has to be consisting of three things. That is the translation. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic scriptures and not agitating. Right. So Krishna is our father, my dear Lord, my dear friends. Right. He's our father, and we are his children. Our good father is teaching us the art and science of speaking properly. Right. Rather than giving into a conditioned side where we just speak roughly, rudely, harshly, in a reactive way, right? जैसे मन में आया बोलता ना बक दिया, ऐसे ही बोल दिया. Rather than Krishna is saying, be conscious, speak what is satyam, what is priyam, what is hitam. So when we speak something, is it truthful? Is it honest? Is it pleasing? And is it really beneficial to the person, right? So in this way, Krishna is wanting to train us in the art of proper communication, right? So
Suppose after hearing all this, we realize that unfortunately, in some relationships, we have already made these mistakes. Damage has been done. Can something be done to repair it? Of course, something can be done. We have to understand that there are damage repair mechanisms by which we could try to patch up, as we say, for what mistakes we made. For that, first, we understand it's never too late. So the first thing is, first we need to accept some mistake we might have made, however painful it is to our ego. It's not that always we are right. In any relationship, we always try to say, I am no fault of mine, but the opposite person only doesn't understand, right? When you go somewhere, this is how human mind never makes us realize that I could be wrong. But first thing is that please sometimes be ready to accept your mistake. Whether we are males or we are females, we have male ego, female ego, whatever. But we just accept it in a humility. Then what Krishna does? He becomes pleased with the humble attitude which we took. And he will inspire the opposite person to forgive us or patch up with the person, right? So first one is accept our mistake. Yeah, it's humility in action. We keep talking of Trinadapi, Sunichayana and all, but if you don't say accept mistake, it doesn't work. Second is sometimes we might need to do honest clarification. Something I said in this way because actually I didn't mean it was because of this. That means at least we care. Otherwise, you just feel care. Forget it. Why should I give an explanation? I'm in a higher position. So if they don't understand, that's their problem. No. Give a honest communication and clarification. What I meant, what did it mean when I said that? And things might get clarified because of that. Third is we beg for forgiveness because saying sorry is a sign of strength. Many times we don't say sorry because we say that if I say sorry, they will suggest see because it was your fault. You said sorry. But no, the person who says sorry means that that person cares for the relationship, not because the person was wrong. So don't misunderstand sorry like that. They said sorry because it was a mistake. No, it requires great strength. Otherwise, weak people cannot say sorry. Strong people can say sorry. So we may need to beg forgiveness and ask for that. And most important is we have to work for change. We cannot just sit tight on it and expect relationships to improve just like that. We have to work on the relationship for change. Change means what? Try to think about all that we have discussed. Okay, what I did wrong, what can I do better? Maybe, we can do that. Give more positive feedbacks in your relationship, right? Fill the love tank more, and maybe things might improve and the damage might be controlled. And the fifth thing is, as I said, invest in good times. Because in any relationship, there is an emotional bank account. First, I give, more positivity to the relationship, and then some negative exchanges here and there will be accommodated. But if all the time I'm just going to be like a hinka jhad, we say, all sour communication I keep doing without any positive communication, then there is no hope for our being able to repair the relationship, right? So we can never stop communicating love, our appreciation to our spouse. The longer we are together, the more reasons are there to do it, and the more ways we know how to do it. Who can hurt our each other more than we? Who knows better the weakness and the duktiness? Who knows, okay, what I will do which will hurt that person the most? Nobody knows better than me. And who knows how I can please the person? Me. So I have to decide whether I want to be the cause of the problem or the cause of the solution, right? So ultimately, as we said, that we are trying to discuss about all this communication, because if my family life is good, if my relationship with my co-devotees are good, then I will be able to have perfect communication with the Lord. Huh? Because ultimately, all that I am doing is for what? What I am doing bhakti yoga? To please the Lord. Samsiddhi Haritoshanam. Hari ko satisfy karne ke liye. And we forget, that everybody else is a Vaishnav except the people in my house. Vaishnav, shouting at home, criticizing people at home is not Vaishnav Aparad. I may think like that. But is it Vaishnav Aparad? Sometimes it is Maha Vaishnav Aparad. And you will be answerable for that. You will be answerable for that if you hurt. Anybody is hurt. Whole Ramayana and Mahabharata came about because of the hurt which people felt in relationships. Pandavas and Kauravas were hurt. Sita was hurt. Right? All this hurt business brought about wars in the world. So the easiest way to hurt is by, as we said, tongue. Because sword can kill the body, and then after you are dead, where is the question of hurt? After that, even if I put 10 times I stab you again and again, you don't feel the hurt because you're already dead. But tongue, you are killing people alive. How does sadistic, like Mrigari did, half kill the people. Tadpada, tadpada, tadpada. So by using bad word, we are being like Mrigaris. People are there around us and we are half killing them. It's so painful for them to live with us, but like that. So we have to understand that when I want to please the Lord, that is the whole effort I am doing in my bhakti yoga. But what I am doing, kunjara shauchavat, pura pani pher dete uske upar, by not being careful in the way I treat other devotees, treat my family people. Nahi hota. So just last slide, we would say that what would be the perfection of communication if we remember 4 or 5 words which we could use more often. What are the 5 most important words, golden words, which you could use in your life? 5 important words. How can I serve you? How can I serve you? 5 most important words. That includes even family people. Not that I have to just serve people in the temple. But people at home, to serve means to please. Right? To serve means to please. So how can I serve you means how can I please you? So sometimes intermittently husband wife should ask, you are pleased with me, na? Pleased with me. Off and on we need to ask, you just cannot take it for granted that whatever I do, that's their problem if they are not pleased, I am doing my part. They don't understand. No, there's no harm in asking, Prabhuji, you are pleased with me, na? Am I doing, hurting something too much? Ask, no? It's not that because it is so close a relationship, why such formalities and all. But then in that informality ke naam pe sab Hare Krishna explosion at home keeps happening. Not necessary. 5 most important words, how can I serve you? 4 most important words. What is your opinion? This shows respect, right? Sometimes we take unilateral decisions, even in committees. Even if you have a committee in the temple, my way or highway, you have to do like this. Janmashtami festival will be celebrated like this. I don't care what you feel. Correct? You take people's opinion, that means you respect what other people are saying. If I say, we are shifting from Hyderabad, what is some village around Hyderabad? Small village? They are shifting, and the wife says, Papa, I want to stay in Hyderabad. I decided now, bus. That's it. The wife says, I am going to my mother's house. Everybody asks Prabhuji, is it okay? I am going, anything needs to be done. When you ask each other's opinion, it shows what? Respect. Huh? So please increase that respect element. What are the 3 most important words? I am sorry. I am sorry. Huh? This shows your humility. Not by chanting Trinadapi Sunichena verse or giving 100 lectures on Trinadapi Sunichena verse. By practicing it. And temple is what? Is the school. Theory. Laboratory and practical is where? Home. There your spiritual muscles get tested. I want to say something, but I control. Huh? But practical, it's not that everything I feel, I have to just say it. Somebody was asking us a question yesterday in the leadership seminar we did. Is it better to be straightforward? No, Prabhuji. Why be hypocritical? What I feel I should tell. So I might feel, you stupid fool, like that. If the husband tells the wife like that, I feel like that about you. So I should say it? No. Is it priyam? Is it pleasing to the opposite person? No. Is it hitam? Will it benefit? No. Then why say it? Think before you say. Before whatever I am going to say, sometimes we need to think. It's very easy to say these things, but we have to be more conscious and practice more, and then it comes. So 3 most important words, I am sorry. 2 most important words, thank you. We need to say thank you to our partners. How many of you all say regularly, I am sorry and thank you? Just see how many hands are coming up. Next time we should have more hands come up. Sometimes one partner puts up the hand and the other partner looks, where? Many times it happens like that, When we ask such a question, obviously every partner is looking at the opposite side. They are in utter shock. You can see on their face. Not sorry bolte hain. Not thank you bola hai mujhe. Whatever. You don't want to get into that. But please increase. Be more generous. Don't be conjuice in that. Sorry, thank you. Use it profusely with your own people. Give the best part of your communication to your own people. And what is the one most important word? Not I. I to we. Whenever we will think of we, automatically our communication will become good because we are thinking of the interest of the whole unit. I'm not just thinking about myself. I like this. I don't like this. It is the I generation. What she's saying is not wrong. Because we all have become so selfish and self-centered that I'm only thinking about myself. What I like, what I don't like, what I feel like saying, I just say it. It's not hypocrisy to not say what you feel. It's not a great thing. I am very straightforward in saying, no, it's not a feather in your cap. Be a little more measured. Think about it. If it is good, then say it upfront. But if it is bad, think how you can communicate that particular thing. It's not necessary to जैसे बोला ना अंधे को अंधा बोलना, tell it in a better way. Same thing can be communicated. It's not what you say, it's how you say that matters. So as we said that when we take care of some of these factors, you will automatically see that we will become better devotees. Our japa will give us more satisfaction. We will attract the mercy of the Lord because our communication with the Lord will become very pleasing to Him. Because we have pleased His devotees. So the whole purpose is this, that we never thought of this connection in pleasing the Lord and this particular thing. How many of you all thought? Even we didn't think about it till we decided to do this seminar. Okay, there is some connection. We think chanting is chanting and communication is communication. But there is a connection between the two. That if I want to please the Lord, I have to think of these things. Only then I can become better devotees. Otherwise, there will be cracks in communities. There will be separate groups formed. I don't want this. I belong to this group and I belong to that group. Why? Because there is unhealthy communication going on. Families are cracked up today. Why there are divorces and all happening? Because of this. Because of rash communication, all these social evils are happening. Extramarital affairs are happening because you feel my partner doesn't talk properly to me. Some other person talks properly to me, but grass always is green on the other side. When you start living with the person you actually know, but somehow these social evils come about. So why not create a good environment at home that all these negative, wrong thoughts don't come in our mind only? Divorce, extramarital affairs, they will not happen if we have a happy, healthy, congenial environment in the house to good communication. And trust us, the most affected people in this whole process is children. They see that, they learn that, they are affected, they become insecure, and we will be responsible for that. So we have to be a little more aware of this. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. I have a question, but after that, if anybody else has any questions, please feel to ask. So, Mataji, my question is, there is a tendency, now I'm talking a little about philosophy that we hear in Krishna consciousness, that we are all here to exploit this world and to enjoy. We have come here. Core philosophy of why we are in this material world is because we want to exploit and enjoy this place. Or we want to be Krishna here, something like that. We keep hearing this in the philosophy. So it also happens slowly that in relationships, we try to use people. Like if this person is useful to me, I'll be respectful to him. If I don't think this person is going to be useful to me, I may choose not to be so respectful or not to invest any time. Right? So I'm like picking and choosing. Just as a conversation, he's temple president, so better to be good with him because he can influence a lot my spiritual life. But he's just a devotee in the temple. He doesn't have any influence with the management. I can afford to be, rude with him. If at all I have to be, I'll not think twice. So the aspect of using people according to my convenience, how do you come out of that? It's like deep rooted inside, and which also goes into the house. It also goes into personal relationships. Is it my patience level to accept that my wife will not understand me or my children will not understand me? I'm not right to have the patience. My boss will not be able to understand me. That's okay. But I can't accept that my family will not understand me. Because I expect them to understand me. Because actually I'm trying to use them for my happiness. The underlying principle is I want to use people for my happiness. How do you come out of this, this knot in the heart, which is so difficult to come?
Jesus Christ said, the way you treat the least among men is the way you treat me. Powerful statement. Very powerful statement. Then Acharya, right? In any company also, the top people are judged by how they treat the lowest people. Right? So he's a very good, manager, he's a good supervisor, he's a good GM. How is judged? Because when he walks on the floor among people, he smiles and says hello to even the worker, janitor, not just the technician. Say hello, how are you today? Good morning. And you're right, you'll be fine. This is a nice person. Right? So we are, as you said, very choosy and picky about how we do things. Imagine Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? He wasn't giving his mercy only to Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur, the big guys in Gaur Leela. Haridas was the big guy, big preacher. But there is a big man who Chandipur worships him, right? He was giving respect to Koloja Street there also. And as a beggar in the company, who would give respect to his beggar to? Beggar, Bhikari. क्या मतलब है उसका? Shukla Brahmachari is a beggar. He actually is a beggar. Nothing but a beggar. He goes with a jhola, goes on begging from home to home. He will give him dry chapatis, dry sweet, pova, flat rice. But Mahaprabhu, he is putting him in his personal circuit and calling him a Shiva Sangha to do. The Supreme Lord is respecting a beggar in the street. Does it speak a lot to us? Apani Achari Prabhur Jivera Sikhai. The Lord, when He does something, He's teaching us. People, when Sudama Brahma was entering the Dwarkapuri, they were thinking, how to be Dwarkadish. People in the Chokadar saying, hey, whatever, the Lord ran from his throne to see when he saw his friend. He wasn't going by the least Brahman. So many Brahmanas are there at that time. The least Brahman was Sudama, Pata Kapda, Daddy, this, that, unkept, and to be. Lowly, unkept Brahman, looking. So, in this way, we need to have, we say, the song says, Sakala Samana Korite Shakati. That is the song. So it says, Rasaman, Iswasaman, Sakala Samane Korite Shakati. We say when we have Vas Puja, we sing the song very often. Right? Sakala Samana. So when you say Amanna Mana Dena, that Amanna is for all. The level of respect can be differential, that is understandable. That part, what you said is true. Somebody sannyasi is worthy of obviously far more respect. Somebody brahmachari comes in amongst us and says, Prabhuji, please you're sitting down, sit in the chair at least. Right? We will give him a garland, we will give him a... So depending on their status in the society, depending on their status in a particular organization, different respect is expected and is natural also. But that does not, and the corollary of that particular understanding is that people who are not in position need to be neglected or ruled with. That is unbecoming of the examples I just quoted. The Lord will actually hold it against us. Hold it against us. Right? We need to respect. When Merigari, example is called on Merigari, respect even the existence of an ant. You need to respect on the ant also. And the part and parcel of Krishna. So Krishna is very, very observant. Right? If you just see that we are respecting our Guru Maharaj and this is somebody else's Guru Maharaj. You talk nicely to your brothers and sisters, do that to somebody else. Just wants to see. So that's what the Lord has said. Samoham Sarva Bhutesh. Nama Deshosi Nama Kriya. So expect you to also be equally inclined towards all the religions. Does that make sense? This young beautiful girl is want to ask some questions. Please go ahead. Yeah, we may not say it, it's possible, we might not want to say it at all, right? It is hurtful. Is it very, very important for me to say it? I need to analyze myself. Is it so important I should say it if it was hurtful? If I say, no, I do not have to say it. But if I decide is I should say it, then there is a way of speaking even unpleasant things. That is a skill, that is an art which we have to learn, right? That's to be learned something. How to really speak that, as I said, the word, the content. What words would you, which are also not very pleasant to hear? Like, for example, when we argue on a personal level, as doctors, we are doing unpleasant things sometimes. patient is in the ICU, patient is critical, and patient dies, right? And who's going to communicate? Doctor, right? I said, sir, your patient, no, he's dead. Can you speak like that to your patients, relatives? मर गया वो, कोई तेरे से ना मर गया. In the highest exams in medical education, there is a separate questionnaire and a separate day of evaluation how to communicate bad news. It's very embarrassing to tell people if I'm critical, somebody is having cancer, somebody is having HIV positive, somebody is having this, somebody is having that. It's very bad comments we often make to our patients. How to speak those unpleasant things? We are trained to speak them. It's an art, right? And oftentimes, the doctors are given high degrees, not based on their knowledge of clinical medicine, but on the basis of their how they will do communicate unpleasant things in their exam for it. The examiners make you understand in this practical world, we may have to speak unpleasant things, but there has to be a skill how to communicate. All right? Yes. Yeah. So this was talking to Satya Prabhu yesterday when we were driving back to Gachirauli from the same day. This is something also very common, and it therefore needs to be addressed because it's very relevant. And that when we are good to everyone, people take us for
Granted.
a ride, not for granted, take us for a ride. Right? So, I think that does not mean that we lose power of discrimination, right? And especially this problem comes when it comes to talking about whatever we talk today, makes complete sense when it is relevant to devotees and home people, correct? So it is on that, and that we do have any question on that, and we are in agreement that this is the way we should go forward in our spiritual life when it comes to home people and Western community, correct? Now the question automatically arises: what about office situation? In office situation, we need to be respectful, but at the same time, we need to be intelligent and speak as it is necessary. Right? We don't want to be rude, we don't want to be rash, it doesn't have us of power. Right? At the same time, we need to speak when necessary to protect ourselves. What do you need to do to protect yourself from being taken from granted or for a ride? What do you need to do? Can you ask yourself? So your content will be different, but your reservation, your intent will not be bad. ये मैं किसी की बुराई के लिए नहीं कर रहा हूँ, but my content is I speak in a particular way to my boss, to my colleague, to my immediate superior, or to my junior. I speak in a particular way, right? The content is chosen properly. The words are chosen how to speak to them, because that's what is required for me to have effective work environment in my office. So not. At the same time, because I'm doing that, it may be a little unpleasant sometimes. I have no bad intentions. I'm just doing it because of this to safeguard my emotional security. Is that okay? So it's just doing the needful, right? You don't have to be a bad guy. You should have a bad guy in the office. If people start hating you, because you are very good at the devotee and the office will like, right? I have a film director who is my patient. He directs a lot of these films, right? And he's such a nice gentleman. His wife is very satvic, very devotional. Both of them are like really God-loving people, Namaste, things like that. But when he's on the set, when he's on the shooting arena, when he's doing his shootings and all that, he said, I have to tell you honestly, I have to use such words with my people. They just don't work. The only language I understand, because they're so low class people, the only understand is when I have to use words which you'll find is very surprising that I'm using this. But that's the only language I can use. Because my whole work will not be done. I will lose money. मेरा project बनने का नहीं, my set will not be made. Shooting होएगा नहीं, कुछ नहीं होएगा मेरा. Right? So I mean, extreme example is that people have to sometimes use differential behavioral patterns to actually be more effective. But in the heart of hearts, they don't really mean that. Are you getting the point? You're talking about office? Office, yes, I think, as I said, I think robust words to the need for that. The work done, yes, definitely. You are, see, the thing is, what is important in office? You have a post, you have some responsibilities, you have some duties to perform, you have to deliver some goods to the company or organization you're working for, right? And you know best how to do it. Correct? So use that knowledge of the best, but at the same time, whatever you're doing it, you keep your conscience clear. Right? This for a purpose. Arjuna is not, now take an example. He is asked to kill. Have you been asked to kill somebody? Have you been asked to kill somebody? Arjuna profession requires them to kill people. Butcher them. Cut them through to the arrows. Right? He did it. Did he have bad intentions? So even if you have done something extreme like killing in Satya Dharma, Arjuna was cleared in his heart first by 700 slokas of Gita of the wrong intent. The content was killing, the intent was doing a service to Krishna. Correct? So when extreme things can be done, the intent is taken care of. Does it make sense?
Sometimes this is a very difficult thing for leaders even in a community. There might be some people who are really causing problems and they need to be communicated. So at that time, we don't have to think, that how can I communicate, what needs to be communicated, needs to be communicated. But again, trying to do it in the best possible way. That means again, doing the needful. Am I the best person to communicate? If I'm not, then better I tell him. Because maybe he's better at telling this. That person might be able to take it better from him than from me. As long as the work is done, then we do it. So whenever there is communication, we think all these factors, that doing the needful, whether I should do it or the opposite person should do it, whether this is the right time to do it, whether this is the right place to do it, whether this is the right way to do it. So all these things, when you combine, Krishna, because we are sincere in our intent, Krishna will guide us from within. What is the best way to do it?
Yes, Satyaprabhu. You want to speak into this because it may not be clear what you want to say unless you speak under the
Forgive me, Prabhu, I'm asking a little long question because I don't know how to articulate that. When we are listening to certain lectures, we sometimes listen like certain aspects like let go the controversial mind, align with Krishna's plan, all your plans are going to fail. That's the kind of language we hear in many kind of kathas. Then on the other aspect, we hear like today morning you are talking about, and also one more aspect here is Avasya Rakshade Krishna. Krishna will take care of you. You give him priority, you are in deep trouble, Krishna will take. But this morning when we are talking about our own carefulness in proactive planning, our own carefulness in financial planning. Otherwise, even some devotees who have so busy in the entire life in serving, but they never took care of their finances, got into immense troubles at the end. So how to connect these things of letting go controllership and letting go that ownership and I am the planner kind of a mentality, and at the same time we are asked to do our own financial planning, our own careful planning and all kinds of things. And also Krishna and others saying that avasya expected that he will protect. But we are talking about situations of people where if they are not taking care of themselves, they are getting themselves into the trouble. Did you understand my question, Prabhu? So I got a little puzzled in between these two perspectives of philosophy and action plan. If you could kindly throw some light and clarify what of that.
Hare Krishna. First of all, comment on our selection of Krishna. That Rupa Goswami is a 6 sense of surrender, right? Shraddha Sharanagati. That also Krishna is basically he's saying he will always protect your faith. The respect Krishna is not about protecting the body or your health or your finances. Krishna will protect your, if you invest in faith in the Lord, you put Shraddha in the Lord, in trying times you will always do the right intelligence and guide you properly within the heart or to some devotee. Right? So Abhisek Krishna means he is there to protect your faith. Right? That is very important to understand. Right? When it comes to more worldly things, what we talk about, financial planning, etc., right? That is part of our swadharma and responsibility. Krishna has given you a family. Krishna has given you children in life to take care of. Right? Is it Krishna's duty to take care of the children or your duty? Your duty. Krishna has put your children under your care. He's put your wife under your care. He's put your parents under your care. Right? And on behalf of Krishna, I will plan my finances. Because I need finances to take care of myself, my future, my savings, my emergency situations, my contingencies, etc. My insurance, everything I have to plan. Right? On behalf of Krishna, I will take care of them. Care means care at all 3 levels. That's what care means: physical care, emotional care, and of course also spiritual care. Right? So we are doing it on behalf of Krishna. The problem came upon when, in ISKCON in the earlier days, when few people running full time, joined full time, they sent the children to Gurukul, Dallas, and then Vrindavan, right? Send them there. The moment the child is born, they're waiting 3-4 years, every went out of book distribution. That was more of this one in the beginning, right? What happened because of that? All those children did not get parental love. Apparently, they thought that Krishna will take care of our children because they are Krishna's children. Go bhej do Gurukul mein sabko bhej do, right? And they are all busy in the 3 different books, right? Nothing wrong distributing books, right? But the neglect element was there. The keyword is what? The keyword is neglect. Neglecting the children, they became abused. They became junkies, right? Today we have a big problem with Guru Gulis, right? This one is a big problem with neglect. Because we thought that it is Krishna's responsibility to take care of children. No, sir, it is your responsibility to take care of children. Right? So we are expected to follow our swadharma. This is our swadharma. And that we should properly do. Yet, we are also saying at the same time that you do your best in terms of whatever you need to do, and yet you depend on Krishna. Let's say, for example, patient having cancer, right? You have to give a proper balanced communication. This chemotherapy has been given, surgery has been given, you're doing everything, but whether it will be cured or not depends on factors beyond our control. Can every oncologist say, "Tumhare cancer mein cure karega hi karega"? He may have the best drugs in the world, 20 lakh rupees per injection he may have. Give it to you, take this injection. Can you cure? Not necessarily. The other factors are working, right? So we understand that you do your best. We tell our children also, you do your best for exams, with the rest to Krishna. But you have to do your best. The rest is up to Krishna. Right? Whether you deserve your purva karma, so many factors are working in a result, what comes to the result. but we are expected to give our best, right? You want to give our best to our children, but are you sure they become Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj? They grow up. Do your best to raise the children in love, care, affection, etc. But what it turned out to be, you don't know. You don't know, right? So you do your best and the rest will leave to Krishna. Everything cannot be in your control. At the same time, do not, because I will not in control, you just don't do anything about it. So we are either all or we are none. Both are either you have full controllership or just you have all control. Both are extreme situations. So you do your daily duties, plan, take care, everything on behalf of Krishna. You love your children on behalf of Krishna. Because they're Krishna's children. You love them. Making some sense, I hope.
Really, probably these are very important conversations that we're having here, because all the time we get into philosophy, we come to Krishna consciousness, but there is a whole foundation that is shaking. You keep shaking, and we're just patching it up as before. And we go through some tough times here in Krishna consciousness. So very really appreciative. These seminars are very much needed, along with the Bhagavatams, along with the. So the question that I have is, Prabhuji, now Krishna has created us differently. Everybody is different in the way they are. At the same time, we say that they're complete. They're complete. Whatever Krishna produces is complete. Some people are good at communication. Some people are not good at communication. Let me be very, with my own little experience, let me tell. Some person will not tell the full sentence. And that is how they have been for the last 40 years. Can you go and get that from there? It can mean anything. Can you go and get that from there? And if you ask, but what? Don't you understand? How many times do you tell? But can you go and get that from there? What does it mean? Right? So that is one level of belief. There are some people who go extreme end. You go there, remove the door, move it exactly underneath that paper. Just say get Jaduma. But you just no, I'm trying to tell you that you go there, remove that. They're very, very detailed in their communication. It's irritating actually. Sometimes like just stop it. Just tell. I can understand. You don't have to tell that type of detail. Right? So there is this extreme end who will never tell. I mean, they are born to create wars. Right? You can't just deal with it. They will not tell it. They will not tell it. And the other side is also they want to create wars. That's so there. Now with this background that I've said, in my office, I can afford to get rid of people who behave like that. If you're not telling full, your appraisal is gone. If you're feeling too much, your appraisal is gone. Very simple. In dealing is so you better correct yourself and go. Otherwise your appraisal is gone. So I have that power. My boss also has the power on me. I also have the power on my subordinates. Now I can correct them in the office, because if I don't correct them, my work gets affected. Right? Now the same thing coming home, right? My neighbor children, they don't have good communication. Actually, it doesn't matter. You know what? But my children don't have communication. It's intolerable to me, because I feel that I have trained them to become better communicators. But then the tendency that I have to train them supersedes the mere fact that Krishna has created them different. Right? So sometimes we'll end up pushing them too much to become a perfect person, which they may not at this age, or they may not ever, because they are created like that, accepting Krishna's creation. And the final thing that I'm going to ask is basically, what about the spouse? Do I have the responsibility to correct my wife, or or my husband at all. Or just accept that that's how they are. And just deal with it and say sorry, or and just say, okay, I'm good with it, because you should create it like that. Because if I try to correct, then it results into a lot of fight. And if I start thinking that it's my responsibility to correct, then it becomes even tougher. Right? So I don't know, I'm asking many statements and questions together. But how do I deal with this? Like, is it my responsibility to correct others? Is the saransh? Is it my responsibility to correct others?
Yeah. Like Saka says, sometimes you give opinion about something, but you have detached opinion. But detached opinion. So even in this particular thing, you try to correct your wife or your children, but you can detach to it. Okay? And the tendency of the mind is that I'm putting so much effort, result will drag. Right? So you become angry, frustrated, and you start banging the door. Right? We blow up the whole damn thing, right? But if your child is doing something wrong, if your wife or for a wife, of course, husband is doing something wrong, it is your moral duty to really help them to change and rectify. How can you say no? Right? We cannot. My child is going to drug addiction. My child is getting around with girls. My boy is going around with the people of bad character. It is my duty. तो ऐसे करेक्ट करने को जाएगा तो वो सुनने वाला थोड़ी है मेरा. वैसा ही है. This man made him into a flirt. अरे किसने किसने made him into a flirt? Then they made him into a flirt. Right? So we definitely have a responsibility to try to change people. But that would depend on how much we have in a relationship very, very continuous. If your roots are very deep and nice and loving, let's say, I want to speak with you. I think you need to discuss this. Now, again and again, we end up discussing this topic, and we both agreed on this subject, about this subject. So if we have been bonded very well, I can open up a table and say actually that I need to discuss this because I think you need to change on this. I said, but you need to change on this because again and again, I see you doing this mistake and it happens that I get irritated and really it has got bad repercussions on community, whatever, something. So can we change on this? Can we work on this? And if I have a good level of communication as fellow friends, as fellow devotees, as true understanders of each other, we have a platform that we can discuss things openly for change. However, when it becomes something which we discuss repeatedly, but it goes into the phase of nagging, right? The other experience goes to nagging. Keep on. At some point, we have to decide in our own minds that this is the way it's going to be. But you don't become frustrated with that. Just happily accept that we are different. I'm a better communicator, I should have a communicator. We accept, but not with reluctance, with frustration, with sense of disappointment. We still love, we still respect, we still honor that person. That does not diminish our level of love and respect for the person. That means that is called as unconditional acceptance of what you are or what person you do into. I still am okay. Am I running home some point?
In a relationship, when it comes, there are some primary principles and some secondary principles. Something which might be very important to me. For example, I might get very irritated if my husband keeps putting the wet towel on the bed. Right? And I feel that we should improve. How many times I have to tell the same thing and that goes on? Or the husband feels, that the wife keeps the light and fan on wherever she goes. I have to keep switching it off everywhere, Common example I'm just giving. So for this, is this such an important thing for us that we are going to take our relationship and meditate on how I must communicate and that important as well, right? So let trivials be trivials, and if it is something important, then as he said, that we think about it, that it needs to be communicated. However, after I have filled the love tank and deposited in my, had enough of credit in my emotional bank balance, only then I can tell it. But as I said, usually we feel that I am right. For example, one devotee asked in Bhagavatam class to our Guru Maharaj Radhanath Swami, Maharaj, my wife does like this. How should I tolerate her? Maharaj gave a beautiful answer, just the way I am tolerating you. And he really, later on, he shared, that how he realized that it was not such a big thing, but his mind was making him feel that I need to change her, I need that she should do like this. There was one Prabhuji who would keep telling that, my wife is not very spiritual, not like me. She needs to do this. It's my responsibility that I have to make her strong. One day, some devotee had to very nicely convey to him that Prabhuji, actually, your wife is a much better devotee than you. However apriyam that word was to that person. And there are some wives who keep telling that actually, I want to do so much devotional service, but my husband, he's not so much interested. He only wants to make money. There are people like that, And the wife feels, I want to go for yatra and I like to do service and all, but my husband is not so much interested. But it is not, it's my responsibility that I have to make him committed to the movement. He's initiated and he's not taking up any responsibility and this and that. The wife keeps on telling. That's, in fact, that behavior of hers is making the husband more averse to doing it. So even though we might feel that it is my responsibility to correct my child, but the way we might be doing it may be making the child or the partner more averse to the change than what we are doing. So ultimately, of course, it is our responsibility. But in the ultimate sense, everybody is an individual living entity. And unless you see something is like grossly going wrong, give the space to each other. That is the best communication in one sense. Because nobody likes to be encroached upon the space too much. Everybody has their own way of doing things. So understand this primary principle and secondary principle. Primary principle, it needs attention, but secondary principles, they are all minor. No? The best thing is let go. It might be very major to me, but it may not be actually a major thing. Combination of both of our
Really doesn't make us feel that we should end ever. Because every single devotee is being clear, every family is practicing has problems. Right? I mean, it's not that. See, I'll tell you a small example. After my 10th grade, I've always been a very average student. But my parents wanted me to do science. I wanted to do whatever comes. I had no career planning at all. So they landed putting me in BC, right? And I got all zeros in the first 1 week, right? And then I said, why don't you add another M to it, M by BC? Now it was really going negative, right? And then finally, after 3 months being in M by BC, I went and told my father that it's not going to work. And I cannot do this. So what is the best I can do is what is available for my grade, commerce. I'll take that commerce and live with it. The reason I told you this example is many times what happens, we start our spiritual life and then you start giving first commitment, you add an M to it, you add a B to it, you add a P to it, you add an M by PC, and finally land up in M by PC. And now you have a whole community looking at you and you're looking at the community. In any position, being a leader or a part of a community or anything. Many times we see couples, they come and say, probably nahi ho raha hai. Something is wrong. Our relationship itself is not going right. Should we relax it a little? Should we And then it becomes, how do you relax? What is sense gratification for a sadhaka? I don't know. Sadhaka means he has to control his sense and go forward. But sometimes it so happens that he does not find it in Krishna consciousness. At the same time, the existing relationship itself is also ruined, right? And not because of Krishna consciousness. The relationship itself had problems. And then you've gone into Krishna consciousness, you have put on so many MBA pieces on top of it. And then you're kind of, because your foundation is not strong, you're struggling in your spiritual life. And then it comes back to a question that sometimes we discuss with some families, that what should we do? Should we give it a break for some time? Just figure out our relationship and then come back to Krishna consciousness? Or continue with Krishna consciousness and see how Krishna will help us as we go along. But foundationally, it's all shaken. It's not, they're not ready for that kind of commitment. As an association, they committed for it, but now they're struggling. And I've seen this happening with many devotees in many, many levels. And sometimes we just say, okay, you know what, husband and wife, you go and have a chill. You don't have to tell where you've gone. Just take it easy. Come back when you are normal. But how do you deal with this? And how do you give that next level of commitment when you have to progress, when your relationship itself is not strong enough? Is it important to fix the relationship and then commit more? Or the commitment itself will help you? Or Krishna will also help you in this process? This is the last question. I'm really, because this kind of guidance is very rare to receive. And it's very important that we also open our hearts and speak. Because where else can we go? Krishna has sent you. Right? Where else can we go? So it's always good to discuss.
In the morning, you are not there, but we discussed this in principle. You are seeing a detailed question, but there's something called a support circle. There's one activity that is support circle. Some of you were there in the morning. You may remember that. Right? That means to hold your Krishna conscious activities, you need a patra. Right? To hold the milk which you are having from the cows, you need a proper patra, or you will leak out. Similarly, I think you rightly mentioned that the family atmosphere, being congenial and stable and happy and peaceful, is certainly a desirable environment to hold the invaluable ingredient of Krishna consciousness. Right? So we need, this comes more easier. Krishna comes more easier. This chanting, this temple, this fun, it's like festivals, Sapastami, Katyatra, that comes much easier, right? And what takes hard struggle and is to use the power and potency of the sadhana to mend all the cracks which we have created for the last 20 years, 15 years of our marriage, that we did not pay attention to what was necessary in the beginning itself. So many neglect here, now we're into bhakti, right? What to do about it, right? So now we have better tools to take care of that particular part. One thing, we have better tools. Number one, we have better reasons to take care of our relationship. Earlier, ऐसा होता है चलेगा. You would probably live like this to the end of our lives. But now we know that we both are practicing Vaishnavism. So we have stronger reasons to mend this. Because your relationship with me is more meaningful now with me than it was at the time of marriage. I went because you are a beautiful girl and you went because I was a handsome boy. That's it. Or you're a good family, a lot of money was there, and I was having a potential to become a. So you married because of some basic, what you call material reasons, right? Whatever. Right? But now I know we are becoming Vaishnavas. So you are so much more important for me in my life now because you are going to be my partner on my eternal journey. So I need to have a better relationship with you. It's imperative now. But I have better reasons now, and I have better tools that I can say, when I have a problem with you, I will happily say, Vishaka, I am sorry. I blew it up last time. I have better tools to really appreciate now what the things you have been doing in my life. I have never appreciated the last 15 years of my marriage. So better tools, better reasons. Is it not true? And therefore, You don't have to really stop your Krishna consciousness. Let it go on. But work, use more muscle power, use more intelligence, use more time in mending the cracks which you have made in the last 15 years. Better reasons, better tools. Is it not? Hare Krishna.
No more questions, just word of thanks. But whatever Prabhuji and Mataji have told, I've seen that today, a small incident with the permission I want to share. Walking the talk, right? It's easy to say philosophy and difficult to follow it. While we were coming from Chennai Swami Ashram to Mudimyal, at one point Prabhuji asked me how much more time it will take. And I told 10 minutes, something like that. And immediately Mataji told Prabhuji, why did you take a power nap? I think you need to take some rest. That really touched me, Prabhuji. Really, that's genuine care for each other. Right? I don't know how to express it, but while you were speaking all along, it's very easy to speak philosophy, but actually put it in application where you're seeing that your spouse needs this. And that very statement, if every spouse makes to the opposite partner, whether or not they take a power nap, I think they'll become powerful. Just by saying that. And I've seen that in the car, immediately kept everything aside and you took that. I don't know if you took a power nap or not, but you close your eyes and all along I was thinking, wow. This is Vaishnava relationship. Really, thank you. So let us thank Prabhuji and Mataji with 3 loud and enthusiastic Haribol. Hare Krishna. Yeah. We all need Prabhuji and Mataji association. So the whole world needs leaders like this who are ready to understand the real problems, which we can't hide. And the more we hide, it only becomes more painful and more difficult to deal with. And everybody has problems. One statement, Indradunya Maharaj, not Indradunya Maharaj, Devamrit Swami Maharaj. He told once in America that the most relevant question that you can ask any devotee, the most relevant question that you can ask any devotee without hesitating is, how is Maya troubling you today? And no devotee on the planet will tell, no, Maya is not troubling me. Because it will. And Maya includes our own mind also, right? So when we have that trouble, we need devotees like you.
We start feeling that, we only have to talk about pure spiritual things. And we push this under the carpet. The issues are real. It's not the comfort, but we just try to say, how can I ask, It will appear like a material question. Put it under the carpet, put it under the carpet, put it under the carpet till the carpet explodes. So we only remove the things from under the carpet and bring it out realistically. We usually like to give lifestyle seminars because if you don't have a proper lifestyle, you cannot support your Krishna consciousness. There's a direct connection with it. We didn't quote any Bhagavatam shlokas, we didn't quote any Chaitanya Charitamrita shlokas, but it will help you to follow Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita better if you follow what we have done.
And Mataji, last week, this lecture, even though you did not put a single shloka, we felt Krishna is speaking through you. All the things that you told, Krishna is speaking through us. Krishna cares for us. Krishna is there. He wants all of us back. And he has sent you here to fix our problems at whichever level they are. So, thank you very much. And in future also, you have. Yeah. Very good. Very good. So Raja Prabhu and Shirshi Mati, yourself. Very young couple, very dynamic, very energetic in a person. And glad that the lecture really helped. So thank you very much for everyone. So we'll request Mati and Toji to again visit us, and give us quality time. Maybe next year we can plan more time to discuss, and maybe we'll also plan half a day, which can be like one-on-one. If somebody really has some issue that you can't discuss, if that's okay, right? Yes, we'll not have to tell who is that person. You only tell me, and I also don't need to sit there. If you just want to discuss something that's really, it's going to help your Krishna consciousness at the end of the day, right? Yeah. So please let us also have that. We'll plan it more aptly and resourcefully. So they have really spent the last 2 days sleeplessly, continuously giving themselves to everyone. And even now, they're finished and they have to sleep. Next day, early morning, there is bright. And I'm sure after they go back, they have more services than the services they've done here. So let's once again thank them with loudest Haribol and request them to come again. Haribol! 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 And we also pray for your good health, and because as every year passes by, everybody is changing in terms of body and so many things are changing. We want you in good health, and we want you more quite often, to come and help us. So now, the Prashadam is going to be served in the Goshala there. So we will all disperse from here. And the cars are parked a little haphazardly. Actually, my car is right in between everyone, so I have to remove that. But please drive safely when you're going back, because the road from here to Moinabad is a one-sided road, right? There is nothing in between. And people really drive very rashly. Of late, a lot of accidents have happened here. So especially with high beams, people don't know why they put high beams. So please drive safely until you reach Moinabad and after the course. So Hare Krishna, Dandavatna, all those Krishna Gopal. Dwarkadish Prabhu Vishaka Premati ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanand.